Rich and Charlotte, Karen and I are sorry that we can't be present at your retirement party. We're away at a urology meeting, the Western Urologic Forum meeting, and I'm on a panel there, so we regret not being able to participate in your celebration. I did want to just say a few comments about your fabulous career and about the legacy of the practice that you've intimately been involved in building. I'm sure that this new chapter in your life will provoke all kinds of new sentiments, some anxiety, excitement, and nostalgia, as anything new does in all of our lives. For those of you that don't know Rich's professional history, he got his BA from Berkeley in 1962, his MD degree from Berkeley in '66, did an internship at USC from '66 to '67, and then proudly served in the Air Force from 1967 to '69. He then did his residency in urology from 1969 through '73. At that point he joined Shelley Lippy and began a practice of urology in primarily Mission Viejo. In the early '70s was when both Mission Hospital and Saddleback Hospital were built. The original hospital in South Orange County was South Coast, and then the two new hospitals were built. Up the freeway at the Saddleback campus, Carol Armstrong and Jay Young established a practice that practiced primarily at South Coast and Saddleback about the same time. There was a camaraderie amongst the early urologists in the community that's persisted today. Terry Shirky and Jim Megley and Kern Singh subsequently joined Rich in the Mission Viejo practice, and of course Shelley Lippy passed away. On the Saddleback front, Steve Cerruti joined Carol and Jay and then I joined them about the same time that Terry did in 1978. Shortly thereafter, Carol Armstrong left, and we added Brad Taylor and Aaron Spitz and Jennifer Grunenfelder, and Steve retired to run Monarch IPA. 10 years ago, the two groups merged to form Orange County Urology Associates, which is what the community knows us as today. And we subsequently added Dr. Teviani and Kim. Years ago, we moved to a common office on La Paz, which was really a watershed event for us. And then in 2012, Dr. Randall joined our group. And that's the face of Orange County Urology as we know it today. Of course, Jay Young has sadly passed away, and we miss him a lot. So truly much of the success of Orange County Urology as we know it today has to be credited to the people who established the practice. So absolutely, Rich and Jay were paramount in establishing a tone of excellence and leadership in our community for our group. Rich has been actively involved in leadership in the medical community as the group has evolved, and the Mission pod certainly dominated all of urology in the Mission campus. He was one of the founders of the Mission IPA that eventually merged with the IPAs from South Coast and Saddleback to form Monarch, and we all know how important that's been in the medical community. He served Mission Hospital in many ways. He's been chief of staff, has served on the board of directors for many years and chaired the Quality Improvement Committee. He's also been active politically, and that won't come as much of a surprise to anybody, but he's been active over the years with Orange County Medical Association, serving on its board of directors and representing Orange County on the California Medical Association board. We, as a bit of nostalgia, just to bring some of our young people a bit of history, there have been huge changes in practice of urology over the last 3, almost 4 decades. The urologists were trained originally to be endoscopic surgeons, and open cases represented a significant challenge to them. Guess what? That seems to have come full circle, as our young urologists today are minimally invasive surgeons, and making a big incision provokes some anxiety. There were no interventional radiologists. If a patient needed a nephrostomy tube, we had to explore the kidney and place the tube. There were no ureteroscopes or lasers, and we blind basketed distal stones and explored ureters and kidneys to do lithotomies. There were no ureteral stents, and if drainage of the ureter was required, we passed an open-ended ureteral catheter and connected it to a Foley and left it draining to an external drainage device. There, of course, were no cell phones, and we took call every third night and every third weekend in those days. It was not at all uncommon for us to have to go into the hospital in the middle of the night to pass nasogastric tubes or start difficult IVs. And of course, every patient that had to be evaluated and admitted from the hospital was done by us, as there were no hospitalists. So there have been profound changes in the way we all practice medicine, and I would suggest all for the better, certainly from a patient's perspective. Now we have shockwave lithotripsies and stents and interventional radiologists and CAT scans and MRIs and endoscopic equipment and minimally invasive surgery and hospitalists and robotics, of course. Throughout the course of our careers, we've been blessed with wonderfully supportive wives and families. We weren't always there when our kids were growing up, for sure, but somehow our wives held it all together, and our families have survived and succeeded, and for that we are eternally grateful to them. We've had wonderful and loyal employees over the years, like Sue and Gail and Melina and Christy and Shirley, that have made our practice run smoothly and allowed the practice to develop and to become what it is today. We've been truly lucky to have had incredible associates to practice with us, and this has made our work of urology a joy. You will know that your patients will be well taken care of. As the new chapter begins, you'll have time to travel, take a road trip to places near and far from home that you've always wanted to see, to tend your garden, to read a book, to volunteer, and to enjoy your family. So just kick back and smell the roses and be very proud of all that you've accomplished and the legacy that you have left for all of us. So with that note, Karen and I wish you and Charlotte many, many years of good health and happiness as you start on this new chapter in your lives.